Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have The Clown, the Paint, and the Circus. This one's by Elliot Cowling on creepypasta.wiki. This is actually a prequel to a story that was written beforehand, The Clown, the Paint, and the Turbines. Turbines was posted in August 2013. The Circus came out in June of 2014. But this is a prequel, or according to the wiki entry, this was the prequel to that previous story.
So why didn't we do the previous story?
This one comes first chronologically.
Chronologically,
But
in the narrative.
chronologically, the other one came first, and by doing it this way, we're missing the aha moment of a prequel. Like, oh, that mixes in with
Yes,
that.
but we'll get that when we read the next one, which is in the chronologically in the story's timeline. It's like what we're doing. It's like what we were doing with in Torment.
It would be backwards.
Yeah.
Instead of getting ahas, we'll be getting ha-ahs.
Yes, clearly. Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's where that comes from. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, because when I found this, I thought, oh, it's a prequel, and then I looked a little bit deeper as we were doing the episode, for the episode. I was like, oh, that one's actually first. But I mean, again,
It said right on the
It's
top
intended.
of the page
Yeah,
this is a prequel.
and it's intended. Yeah,
Did you not
it
see
seems
that?
like it's intended
Yeah.
to be a prequel to read that one, and then we'll read that one after.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the main thing with prequels is that you're supposed to read the original one first.
I think
Because
somebody is agreeing with you, or maybe disagreeing with you. I don't know.
You don't know Dog by now?
No.
it's like the Star Wars movies. You're going to watch the prequels. If you were to go back and watch them completely fresh, without any thought process, would you watch the prequels first?
If they were out, if I had if I'd never seen Star Wars and all of them were out, including the prequels, I'd go see the prequel. I'd see the prequels first because
That's where I disagree with you.
Okay,
I'd watch the original trilogy, then the prequels.
But
I'm going to disagree with both of you. Because apparently a good way to do it is you watch episode, I think, 1 and 2, and then you do the originals.
No.
You do the first original.
Yeah, so it's episode 4, which is A New Hope, the first one that came out, and then you watch Empire Strikes Back, which is the second one, and then that's when the reveal is that I'm your father,
And then you go back in time
to
1 and 2. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So you still have to go back to the originals before you watch
So
the prequels.
basically, we all have a different opinion on this, but since I'm the one who's the producer of the show,
Ours will be edited out, and you will win.
no, I mean because I'm the producer of the show, this is what I've scheduled for the episode.
Oh, okay.
This is when Mikey reveals that he's actually read the Turbines, and he expects us to just go and read it now and
Yeah,
collect our
totally.
thoughts.
Yep.
To which I say, "Damn you, sir, and may you rot in hell."
So evil.
But anyway, back on track. So we're going to do this one. The Clown, the Paint, and the Circus. And then we'll do that one probably next month or something. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't make up the rules, even though I just said I did.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the rundown. So this kid named Ryan hates clowns and circuses, but his younger brother doesn't. And when the circus appears, seemingly overnight, out in a field next to another field with some wind turbines, and begins advertising that it's open, the parents take both kids, much to the chagrin of Ryan. Ryan is forced to go, and when the big show starts, he has to watch his younger brother, as parents aren't allowed in the tent or in the big top, for the show. The show is pretty standard circus stuff: tigers jumping through rings, elephants marching, and a beautiful woman named Melody who sings very well. Until the ringmaster brings Ryan's parents out on stage, and they appear to be forcibly smiling, they're doing this against their will, and they're smiling to keep up the act. And when given the chance, the mom tells Ryan and his brother to run away. They are chased out of the tent, but then go around back to a shack that's connecting to the tent to try and find their parents. And this is a point where Ryan gets knocked out. He wakes up in a cage with a dead, decaying tiger. He manages to break
The
out.
tiger's not in the cage with him.
Was it not? I thought it was on the other side of the cage, just like decomposing.
I thought it was in the cage across from him.
Okay.
I thought. I could be wrong. Either way, continue.
Yeah. He manages to break out, avoiding a large figure dragging someone, presumably to their death. But when he runs out into the now empty circus area, like the field area, he is summoned back by the rather big, intimidating clown that seems to be running the show. He follows for some reason and is brought back into the circus. Inside the Big Top, which is also the name of the clown, the clown and Melody are torturing and killing people, stringing them up in the ceiling area on hooks and draining the blood from them in pots and buckets to paint the circus's interior, like the posts and stuff like that. Like they're because the clown seems to have some kind of obsession with red and blood. Big Top forces Ryan to paint the blood on the posts with Melody's help. Eventually, Big Top brings out Ryan's brother. Trying to protect his bro, he resists Big Top's commands, and as does Melody, who grabs the knife and threatens Big Top, telling the kids to run, yet again. She throws a lighter down and sets the circus aflame. She then joins the kids as they run away into the field next to the circus, the one with the turbines. There are all the other kids in the field that were in the circus prior, all seeming to be like traumatized or scared or not sure what to do, and the group manages to get them to run with them. Eventually, Big Top catches up, and Melody steps in and distracts Big Top by cutting herself and showing him blood. She then dabs the blood on Ryan and I believe his younger brother, as like kind of like, oh, like he can't get you now that like you've been smeared.
She starts
with blood.
painting all the children.
Yeah, all the children with the blood, and Big Top can't do anything because he loves the sight of blood and the sight and smell of blood. So he's like distracted in some way because of that, or he's distracted by his obsession. Melody stabs Big Top, and as he falls to the ground dead, Ryan also falls to the ground. We then cut to a police report regarding the grisly scene and aftermath. Ryan seems a bit traumatized by the events, and with their parents missing / dead, Melody takes custody for the time being. Apparently, she was being blackmailed into helping Big Top this whole time. That night, police are called to their home and find Ryan missing, having killed his younger brother, but left Melody alive. Ryan is still on the loose, and it is revealed that no clown body was found out in the field. And that's about the gist of the story. So, I suppose on to everyone's favorite segment. Everyone tolerates the Grand Inquisitions! At this point. So, on to... I'm just going to go with this one here. I never liked the circus. Not for any particular reason. I just wasn't a fan of all that theatrical side of things. My little brother, however, was a huge fan of the circus. It had taken up permanent residence around 5 miles outside of our town. It was, in fact, the opening day of the circus. Advertisements seemed to have appeared from nowhere. It was situated within a large cut-down field, next to another field full of wind turbines. Okay.
I was just going to say, are you just going to read the story?
No, there was a point to me reading that entire paragraph. This might be leeching onto Mikey's It stories, but I had to read that because we have a bunch of pertinent information, but it's all laid out kind of disjointed to me. Like
it's almost like it was written down in jot form, and then it was just put into a paragraph.
Exactly. So this is how I kind of like restructured it to work. I never liked the circus, though not for any particular reason. I wasn't much of a fan for those things theatrical. My little brother, however, was a huge fan of the circus. So when advertisements began appearing for one, seemingly out of the blue, it was all he talked about. The circus in question had taken up permanent residence about 5 miles out of town in a large cut-down field next to the field with all the wind turbines. According to those adverts, today was the opening day for the circus. and that's basically how I'd like just like to me the previous one was kind of just too disjointed and like too job form, like we said, and I think mine makes it like read a little bit more smoothly.
Yes. However, this is in the mind of a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
So they may not think in perfect, proper sentences.
That's
and
fair,
such.
but none of that was dialogue, technically.
Well, it's all this kid's thoughts.
Yeah, but I mean, then we'll just throw my grammar acquisitions right
Cool,
up the window.
yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I just my suggestion for it, because, like, when I was reading that, I was like, like, I mean, you've got all the information there, but
Yes.
that was kind of a little bit of a strain to read, for me, even for me.
I agree.
So,
I do have one thing to add on to that, which is in my notes, but it's kind of a grammar thing anyways. He says, I never liked the circus, not for any particular reason. I just wasn't a fan of all the theatrical side of things. It sounds like a particular reason to me.
yeah. I guess, yeah.
Not for any particular reason, aside from this particular reason that I say
Except for
immediately
the
after.
reason that, like, I just don't like theatrical things.
Which sounds like a particular reason.
Yeah. Also, he must be fun at parties.
Why?
Because he doesn't like theatrical things. So, like, doesn't like being, like, flary or, like, flamboyant or fancy. I don't know. Moving on. So my parents. Oh, started reading it like I would be reading it. Actually, that's probably how you should read this. So my parents gave in to my brother's constant whining, and we went out around 1 in the afternoon to the circus. I believe that like my parents finally gave in to my brother's constant warning, because it's just like, so my parents gave in to like, it's just like they just laid down and died. Like laid down and took the whining and just decided like, oh fine, we'll take it. Like I think it would have been more like again more dynamic if they find like after so much whining, like fine, we'll take you to the circus.
Unless they regularly immediately give in to his demands.
Yeah, but that's
so
not
it's
what
just
he claimed. But
it's not said one way or another. Like he just could just be like, I want to go to the circus, and they're like, okay.
yeah,
Then that means they didn't finally give into it; they just immediately give into it.
yeah.
Which
So
is
that
how I got it. Essentially, they just kind of give the kid whatever he wants when he whines.
Yeah, and that's fine. Although I think that would actually be a really interesting dynamic, like some tension, like if that had been tackled a little bit later in the story, where like, does he leave his brother to die, or does he not?
Wow.
Like no, like because like all big brothers have, or like all siblings kind of have that. Like your younger sibling like pisses you off enough, you're like, how
You
much,
could die right now and that'd be fine.
yeah. Well, some people, a lot, like I don't know about you guys, but like I've had that moment where it was like, just like a temporary like thought where it's like, where I'm just really pissed at my siblings. And I'm just like in childhood and stuff like that, where it's just like, I don't know, like I really hate you right now. Like the only thing keeping me from like not just abandoning you is the familial bond. Jeez. Does that make me a sociopath? That might make me a sociopath.
Maybe a little bit.
Review the cultist.
Yeah.
Anyway, so moving on to the next one here. Big Top's Terrific Circus. It's so fun that even your parents won't want to leave. Okay, so there's a bit of a nitpick. I think Terrific Circus in that little like label should be capitalized as well. Big Top's is his name, but Terrific Circus is not just a descriptor. It also seems to be the name of the place. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it should have also been capitalized.
Yeah. If it is, yes.
Yeah.
Unless
well,
it's just
Big
saying...
Top's Terrific Circus! Exclamation point. So it's like it kind of denotes that it is the name of the place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of just a nitpick on like the capitalization for like titling and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And moving on to the next one. Right? Well, that clown doesn't know me at all. And this is a thought that the character is having in the story.
In regards to that sentence that you read before.
Exactly, yes. So, I feel like you could use brackets or like even singular quotations as they do later in the story for these similar kind of like thought processes that the character has. to help differentiate thoughts the character is having in the moments of the story, like separate it from like the regular like narrative.
Yeah,
because as it is, like I mean, he does use it later on in the story, like singular quotations to like differentiate a thought process versus a speech or just the regular like the writing process. Which again, technically, all of this is basically being told to us from the mind of the character, or like the thoughts of the character. Mm-hmm. But this was what they were thinking at that moment. So just to help differentiate that, again, brackets or single quotations would help. And my next one. After we parked up, my brother jumped out of the car and ran towards the cotton candy stall. I think you need to remove up and like the up after the parked there, and it like I don't feel like you need it as well. Maybe replace it with a comma. Because as I read that, it was like, after we parked up, my brother... and then it's like, jumped out of the car. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like they're all riding piggyback on the brother, so...
Yeah, like it would be like, after we parked, comma, my brother jumped out of the car and ran towards the cotton candy stall. Like, that makes so much better.
Mm. Well, no, it's actually punishment. So it's like, well, you want to go to the circus so bad, you got to give us piggyback rides all the way there.
Yeah. All of us. Also at the same time.
This one might be a little bit more nitpicky on this, but like when the brother jumps out the car, like maybe add it out of the car.
Yeah.
Just to get that a little bit better. Yeah. My next one here. He is 5 years old, so what should I expect? I feel like up until this point, everything's been past tense except for this. So maybe use was.
Yeah.
Like he was 5 years old, so what should I expect? Just to keep the past tense. Because like he's recalling,
he's also thinking this in the moment.
It is, but it's also a recollection. So like it's part of it's the issue with this like narrative. Like it needs to be.
If that was the case, then you're right. Well, that clown doesn't know me. Should have changed as well.
Yeah, or that one, or this one should have had like singular quotes, so like to show that this was a thought process in the moment, not in the narrative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah, because there is. Is that what you're reacting to?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a chipmunk or something outside.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just there's an issue in the story with like the thought processes that are going on as he's narrating the story versus the thought processes that are happening in the story itself at certain moments. But moving on. My dad kind of forced me into it to keep him company. Again, a nitpick. I know that it's technically in dialogue, but like kinda, it should be like kind of, or just my dad, or even just my dad. Yeah, no, it's not. It's again like I mean like the narrative is technically a thought recollection kind of thing.
Oh.
But I still believe that it should actually don't even need the kinda. It should just be my dad forced me into it. My dad forced me into it to keep him company. Mm-hmm. Like just like tell like didn't just kinda he did.
Yeah.
Like be a little bit more assertive there.
Unless he was being like passive aggressive with it. It's like
maybe
we could just let him go in there by himself and let him get killed by a clown.
Honestly, then that would be a good opportunity to actually have the dad talk.
Yeah.
Like just have like a bit of dialogue there.
The dad is mute. He communicates specifically through telepathy
and screams.
And that
possibly later.
Possibly.
And then this one's kind of silly. It was the ringmaster. Perhaps he or even they rather than it. Though maybe it's also maybe the ringmaster is actually just a construct created by Mr. Big Top. So who knows? Just because they use it like it was the ringmaster. Like the ringmaster is a person on stage.
Yeah, but it's also
he's not it.
It's also describing him like a noun, like as a person.
Then they could have used like they, like they were the ringmaster, or he was the ringmaster.
Honestly, it sounds weirder when you say they, at least in my mind.
Well, just
like there's this dude over.
It's a gender neutral like pronoun, so
is it.
It I don't know. Like when I think of it, I think of, honestly like objects more than like people. Like when it's used as a description, it always comes off wrong to me to use.
Yeah, they just seems weird when you're. For me, they always like sounds plural. They always sounds plural.
Yeah, but plural's not. But that's also not the case anymore because, well, say it with me. I hate. Come on. I hate.
Politics.
I hate the English language.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
I hate.
Religion.
We're just gonna move right on.
I hate everything.
All right, then,
I
Lewis.
hate Canada.
You know what, Lewis? For once, I agree.
How dare you?
Or is it Francis? It was Lewis was the guy who says that. You know what? For once, Francis, we agree.
Yes. Unless he's talking to himself. But yes.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the story at hand. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I welcome you to Big Top's Terrific Circus. I feel like you should remove the two between welcome and you. Like, welcome, I welcome you to Big Top's Terrific Circus. Like it says, I welcome to you to Big Top's Terrific Circus.
Twos.
Also, slight nitpick again. I'm just lounging in the nitpick nook today, apparently.
Yeah, you're just owning it.
Maybe remove ladies and gentlemen, since it's just boys and girls in the show.
Yep.
Yeah. That's weird.
Or ladies and gentlemen, just like, like to be more like fancy, to, like make the kids feel more grown up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just no nitpick there. My next one here. It looked like I was the oldest person there too, and so that 2 at the end there is just a singular O2. Don't you look at? Isn't the double O2 to be like oh, I was here too?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Should be a double O.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna go there too.
On to the next one. The crowd went quiet. Oh no! Okay, I fixed it.
Yeah, I love those.
The crowd went quiet, and the ringmaster gave my mother a microphone. I believe we want quiet, not quite.
Or quite quiet.
Quite quiet, yes. On to the next one. I'd like to say to my sons, if I may, get out of here, now. The reason I read it like that is because I feel like an exclamation point at the end would be a little bit better. Like, get out of here, now! Like...
Unless you're trying to play it off like she would just say normal things.
Yeah, to try and like...
you should probably get out of here anyways. Have a good time, kids.
Yeah.
Something
Mom and Daddy love you.
Yeah.
Might never see you again. Anyway. Yeah, I just feel like an exclamation point might have been better, but like, I will take your suggestion that she was actually trying to, like, she was saying it that way to try and, like, be inconspicuous.
Yeah. Although it doesn't
work when the kids start running away.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the dialogue like right before Ryan gets knocked out. What I think we should is and knocked out. I know it's dialogue, but add do between should and is. So like I think we should what I think we should do is, and then he gets knocked out. Like, there's no do in between should and is. Like, it's just like, I think what we should do, like, or even that, like, I think what we should do. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Like, it hit there. Like, not even, like, prolong that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know it's dialogue. Again, I'm in the nitpick nook really hard today.
It's fine.
Just, all over this couch. I love it. Where am I next? I looked at the cage door. I noticed the lock. It looked rather rusty. Okay, this has happened a few times in the story. I think some of these shorter, almost jot form sentences should be combined to read a little bit more, just be a little bit more lengthier. Like they don't need to have such jot formy like sentences.
Mm-hmm.
My next one. Stop this, please. Ah! It hurts. Please stop. Don't be so loud, please. I thought you had a headache anyway. Ah! I feel a description of the scream would be better than actually having it in the dialogue. As it can sometimes come off a little goofy when you have in dialogue. I think it would just be a little bit stronger if it was like, stop this, please. Then like blood-curdling screams.
Mm-hmm.
Please, it hurts, stop. And then like, oh, like, don't you have a headache anyway? And then like have the last one just be like a descriptor of like, the scream was like chilled me to each scream that came out of her mouth like chilled me to the bone, kind of thing.
Yeah, because like reading a scream is never going to be as good. Yeah, it'll sound like Wilhelm. Any scream you read is not going to be as good as what your mind just creates.
Exactly, and if you give a descriptor, that helps like your mind come up with the scariest scream.
Yeah.
And my next one. Oh, your head does look vile, doesn't it? I believe it's, oh, your head does look vile, doesn't it?
Yes.
My next one. The piano stopped playing for about 30 seconds. Then it continued. I believe you need to remove that first, that A, or that ah. So it's, the piano stopped playing for a bit, 30 seconds. Or, I keep wanting to say a bit.
Nailed it.
I keep wanting to say a bit because it's like a separate A there. But yeah, the piano stopped playing for about 30 seconds. Then it continued.
Or a bat for our American listeners.
Yeah, not a bat, not a boot. Bat. We're Canadian, guys. Next one here. We're almost done.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we're almost done this. I retched after I saw what was there, and as I did so, Big grabbed my collar of my shirt. Big grabbed my collar of my shirt and pulled me back up. I think you want Big grabbed the collar of my shirt, not my collar of my shirt. Because I almost thought he was gonna I grabbed my collarbone,
or just grab my collar.
Yeah, that would work too. Like, no, don't need the shirt because collar.
Well, you need the shirt because the collar's on the shirt.
I know, but you don't need the shirt or my collar or my shirt collar. Even.
I meant the character needed the shirt to have a collar.
Okay, sorry, you're trying to be funny. It failed.
Yes, I know. I do that all the time. I know. That's my greatest power.
Dad jokes?
Yes,
that's my superpower. Or that's my secret. I'm always dad joking.
That's my secret. I'm never funny.
Aww,
it's fine.
Yeah. And my final one, which I'm going off on a high note. They both gawped at me with threatening eyes. Gawp. Verb. Stare openly in a stupid or rude manner. What are you gawping at? Huh. I learned something today.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's a British term, so I suppose this is likely set in the UK. And actually, there are other hints in the story that kind of allude to that.
Like colors?
And also the location of where the person went missing into. Like, at the very end of the story in the police report, it mentions a place, and I Googled it, and that place is in, southern UK.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. And that is my grammar inquisitions. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil. What do you got?
I have a couple front ends.
Ooh. Conjunction junction?
Yeah, I guess we can add the butt to it.
And now, a conjunction junction with a helping of an it story. Take it away.
And so began my night at the circus. And so did I. But it wasn't just a standard clown. It had taken up permanent residence around 5 miles outside of our town. It was, in fact, the opening day of the circus. It was situated within a large cut-down field next to another field full of wind turbines. It's so fun that even your parents won't want to leave. It seemed like every ride here was turned up a notch to intentionally make the children spew candy and chocolate all over each other. It was around 3 p.m. now, and my mum called me over to tell me that the show was about to start, and that I had to accompany my brother to it because it was a kids-only show. It seemed like half an hour before the thing started. It was the ringmaster. It looked like I was the oldest person there, too. It seemed to trail down her back. It had turned off because it was out of battery. It was rectangular shaped with a tin roof. It was a violent throbbing right on the top of my head. It was night. It had been mutilated from head to paw. It looked rather rusty. It stood there for a good minute or two, and then walked back the direction it came. It saw me instantly. It was a clown. It was the one on the sign outside of the circus. It was pouring out of him like a fountain. It was a slaughterhouse. It couldn't be him. It was right in front of us. It had reached the tent. It read, "I didn't need him anyway." It is still unknown how the circus appeared and how the advertisements were placed around the town overnight.
So that entire time, like especially right at the end, like at the beginning when you transitioned from the, I'm going to actually remove the break between and it story because it almost works perfectly for this because like the whole time it's basically I was envisioning like it actually the it story and the and story almost form like starts coalescing an actual story about a clown toy that like duplicates and rips out of somebody's chest at a certain point, and then starts like and just massacres a circus.
Yeah. The way that I was reading it is when he was saying like something was going down her back and then it was a something with a tin roof.
Yeah.
So like I was imagining some like robotic rusty snake that like came down her back and like stood up and it was the clown.
Yeah, like,
it had the face of the clown.
So this is basically just demonic toys.
Yeah, kind of.
Because demonic toys has like a clown snake monster.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I got a question for like future like podcast like layout stuff. Should we have you do the it story before I do a rundown, just to see how it correlates to like the actual like context of a narrative of a rundown? Like here's the it story as it's like out of context correlates to the entire story, and then here's the context. Like just as like
if it's a long enough it story to warrant that.
Yeah, just as like a thing. If you, the audience out there, would like to see this, please let us know, and we will go by that when the time comes. Like, if we get any notification or anything like that. Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else for grammar positions?
No, you hit all the ones that I had.
Nice.
I think you hit one of the ones I had.
Oh.
And pretty much all the other ones I didn't have, obviously.
Yeah.
Alright, so this first one's in his own thoughts, but whatever. We've already we've deemed that acceptable.
Yeah.
The quote is, "What show? Oh, that show. The one where people fly out of cannons and all that rubbish, I thought." Sorry, I corrected that. The one where people fly out cannons and all that rubbish.
Oh.
There was a missing of.
Yeah.
Flying out of cannons.
Fly out cannons. Not just envisioning cannons with wings.
Yeah. Totally. The crowd would wake me up, so there was really no halfway, just grin and bear it. And this is just the first instance of single quotes, and me going, woo, single quotes!
Yeah. Right?
However, they did italic previously, and they did nothing previous to that, so there's no consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
I would rather have consistent italics
than nothing at all.
Than mixed match of stuff I like and don't like and confused by,
Yeah. Because again, like it helps like keep you reading and like not wondering like why is this italics, why is this in single quotes, and why is this just nothing.
Yeah, because if you don't know the proper format, then you read the sentence like, oh right, that was in his thoughts, and okay, so you have to go back, and I hate going back.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
My back's fixed.
Everyone knows you hate going back.
Hell
Yeah.
You can't go back to the future.
Well, and there was a lot of bolded text too that
Yeah.
I didn't even notice on mobile when I read it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did actually. I went through a couple. Actually, the first time I was doing this, I actually went back to the actual website, not just my Google Docs, to make sure that like that one instance of like thoughts was not like in italics or something like that, because the way the thing formats.
Yeah. And then the next one. Below it was a long rug or carpet of sorts that spread it in all different directions. One of them led to me. I noticed that they were colored red.
I'm sorry? Blow it? Is that the issue?
What?
The beginning of that sentence.
Below it.
Oh, I thought you said blow it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Below it was long rug.
That's what I was like, did I miss a horrible typo?
No. Below it. But the reason I bring this up is because saying specifically that it's colored red, it hits a bit blunt. That it's super important. So as soon as I read that, I'm like, it's blood.
Yeah, like, honestly, the smell was enough. Kind of, for me.
Even just, like... Well, he hasn't even had the smell yet.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's just he saw a red carpet. He's like, it was colored red.
Yeah.
Where it would be
did it say there was a red carpet and then it was also colored red?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
It did not double down on it.
Okay.
But still, it did very bluntly say, I noticed that it was red.
Yeah, no.
Like, he took mental note, this is important, you know. But a more subtle way to go would be, below it was a long red rug or carpet of sorts that spread out in all different directions. One of them led to me.
Yeah, that works.
Mm-hmm. And that puts it all into one sentence as well.
Yeah.
And the last one. Oh, you did this one, actually.
Oh,
Never mind.
All right.
This was the mother, maybe if she kept quiet, like the other adults.
Yep. Oh, they did it again?
Oh, did I miss the first one, but I got the second one?
Yeah, because the kids were quiet.
Yeah, this one was maybe your mother shouldn't have informed you to get out. Maybe if she kept quiet, like the other adults I had taken.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that one's, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, fair enough. On to the actual thoughts then. Let's hear it for Jane and Andy Jones.
Yeah.
The audience did not applaud.
Oh, damn.
They chatted among themselves, intrigued by what had just occurred. And I gotta say, I'm with the audience. At this point in the story, like in this sequence, I was it genuinely heightened my interest in the story as to what was going on. Like, why are the parents on stage now suddenly? Yeah. Like, I really wasn't sure where the story was going when it was in the circus, or when they were going to the circus. And then this part, I was like,
that's where it kind of starts.
All right. I got up a little bit, like wasn't just lounging. I was like, all right, let's see. I'm not at the edge of my seat, but like ready to get to the edge of my seat.
Mm-hmm.
Next one here, though. I looked to where he was pointing. Joined onto the main tent was a wooden exterior. It was rectangular shaped with a tin roof. We wandered over, and I proceeded to knock on the door. Hello? Excuse me, we're looking for our parents. Hello? Really? After what had happened previous, where your mom tells you to run, get away, you leave the tent, go around, notice this tent, and like start knocking on the door, asking where your parents are. It's like, I would have...
the kids!
I understand. But he's 17. He's not... He is... And he's... Okay, I guess you go with, like... counter with he's a dumb teenager, but... At the same time, like... I'm surprised he didn't, like, try and, like, sneak in and find his parents first. Not just knock on the door. Like, knocking on the door is what his brother would have done.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was just like, really? You just did that? Like, you escaped, and then you just walked back in, basically.
Yeah.
And then this is regarding the dead, decomposing tiger in the cage.
Which was in the cage, I reread it. It was on the other side of the cage. I read that as, on the other side of the room, there was another cage with a tiger in it.
Yeah. Tied around its neck was a piece of string with a note attached. The note read, needs to be darker. Needs more edge.
Wait.
Also, it actually does make sense, like, why it needs to be darker. Like, the blood needs to be darker or something like that, because the clown's obsessed with blood.
Yes, in hindsight.
Yeah. But yeah, like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, it's pretty dark and gritty right now.
Yeah.
And then my next one here. My child, what are you doing? I thought you were locked up. Oh, well, come here at once, it demanded. And this is like the other like circus goer, like circus folk in this, like are also very kind of like have a genial politeness to them, like a calm, almost feigning concern. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, yeah. Like this concern, like this feigning of like concern and like that kind of demeanor amidst their horrific acts and actions. For me, it worked really well, like as a creepy factor, because it shows a bit of their disconnect from the grisly reality that they are imposing on their victims. Like, oh, stop screaming! Didn't you just say you had a headache? Yeah.
Sounds like someone just put on some sunglasses.
Sorry, for the ones that know, I was trying to do the Wilhelm scream.
Oh, yeah.
It's very like if I could do the Wilhelm scream though, I'm done. Like
Yeah, pretty much.
I've ascended. But on to my next one. Before the clown could go any further, Melody spun around, snatched the knife from his grasp, and threw it to the ground. She then spun around and shouted, "Run, boys! Through there!" Aw, yeah! I was kind of hoping Melody was going to be redeemed, because, like, I kind of liked, like, they hint a little bit earlier that, like, she was, like, disgusted by the situation and stuff. So it was, like, I was really kind of hoping that, like, she'd actually, like, have some kind of a redemption, or, like, some kind of, like, it kind of seemed like they were going to lean that way, in the narrative. And then, regarding Melody saving them by painting blood on them and then killing Big Top, there was a point in this story where I was really hoping there'd be some explanation as to the reason for the blood in the slaughterhouse in the circus. And we kind of get that, like, an inkling of that with this. At least for some reason, Big Top loves the color and smell of blood. Then this moment happens, and while we still don't know why Big is doing all this, it does strike a good narrative chord for me as Melody uses it against Big at the end. Like, it's almost like it's almost foreshadowing, like, how his demise.
Yeah.
By, like, all the, like, he's, like, super obsessed with blood, and then blood is what does him in, because they use it against him. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's something about Melody's whole situation and redemption arc in this that I really liked, and like almost like there's a ray of hope and triumph in an otherwise surreal and nightmarish scenario. The whole story actually sort of feels to me like it was pulled or derived from a dream that the author might have had. I know I've certainly had dreams/nightmares that have similar narratives, like the ones I can recall and jot down upon waking anyway. Like, I've had dreams where, like, I basically play out this kind of, like, a similar kind of story where, like, it starts off mundane, then something horrific happens, and then I escape. And there's characters and, like, there's the surreal, like, imagery and like characters that are, like, helping me and, like, fight and like fighting against me and stuff like that in that. And then I wake up, and if I remember those, I actually tend to, like, jot those down because I think those are good ideas for a story.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what this story feels like to a degree. Is like that kind of, like, dream logic storytelling. And then we get to the police statement. So I feel this is not written correctly. There's parts that are a little too convenient to me. It could have used a little work getting the police report feel right. Like, maybe read some, like, actually check out some police reports and, like, see how they're structured and such. Mm-hmm. It's probably the weakest part of the story for me is the police report. Just because it kind of conveniently ties up a bunch of stuff, like, and it almost seems like it's doing it for the narrative, not because of a police officer is, like, jumping in onto the situation. And then there's this moment here, actually, or this is another part at the very end of the report. After thorough investigation, we found a stash of them in the middle of Colbury Woods. Well, that gives us a vague location as to where this is, given the hints to the UK, probably set in Colbury, Southampton, which is in the southern end of England. And then my last actual thought. This is the next part of our investigation regarding the whereabouts of Ryan Jones. Also, we could find no trace of a clown outside the circus. So as mentioned earlier, the story is a prequel to a story that was written first. And I haven't read that one, or I haven't really looked at that one so much. So I'm just guessing here that Ryan is probably going to be the antagonist of the next one, and that this was like some sort of origin story as to his, like, killer mode.
Maybe, but also Big Top's gone. His body wasn't there, so is it possible that he is still the killer and Ryan just got away, but his brother got killed, but he just ran?
There's that, or that Big Top was some kind of, like, supernatural thing and possessed Ryan. Because Ryan was really was spouting traumatization, like, some trauma during the report. So it almost kind of gets like that he was like he was supernaturally connected somehow, or like maybe like psychically or something connected with like to Big Top at the end, because he even passes out at the same time that Big Top dies.
That's true. Yeah.
So I'm almost wondering, like basically his mind transferred over, or like the evil transferred over.
But I also wouldn't hate it if it was a Terminator 1 situation.
No, yeah, for sure. Like it was like a Kyle Reese thing.
No, like a Sarah Connor situation where she's sitting in an insane asylum and then this monster's coming to get her.
Yeah.
That's basically what's happening right now.
But yeah, if it's the case that like Ryan is the antagonist, for me, this actually is a pretty decent origin story for that kind of like subgenre of creepypasta, like the killer genre. It's certainly better than some. It looks off to something that I'm not going to map reference.
Starts with a J and ends with a F. Right?
Oh, okay. I was like, killer doesn't end with an F.
Oh my god!
I know. Yeah. Anyway, and that's my actual thoughts until we go into final thoughts. So, Mikey, what do you got?
All right.
Wow, you gotta like warm up for this. Like, want to go over to want to go behind the couch and just get some stretches in.
So I'll start with a quote.
You know that's going to be your character on the title card. Just going to be leg warmers, like the little exercise band. Just
because he stretched once.
That's what happens when I'm the producer and the artist.
Marcus kept bugging me to go on all the rides with him. So, my issue with this.
So unrealistic. Siblings asking to go on rides with their older siblings. Unreal. Table flipped.
Let the demon talk around.
Sorry.
Alright, so I'm basing this off of my Canadian experience. Because I have been to a circus in Canada.
Well, I mean, we are Canadian, or we were once part of the Commonwealth, so we're basically a UK light.
Yeah.
Diet UK.
Pretty much, yeah.
And my experience with the circus in Canada is that it was just the big top.
Yeah, no, I think there are carnivals. Like, they have a big top as well.
Yeah, no, but this is just circus, and if it said carnival, I would have been fine.
You know what? Actually, I mean, like, yeah, I've never actually been. I don't think I've actually ever been to like a traveling circus. But I feel like, again, from media I've digested, like it does. I think there are circuses that are called circuses that are actually just moving carnivals as well. So
yeah.
So
that's really just a personal thing where. When I went to a circus, there was no rides, so the whole...
It's just all the tent stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Alright. The next quote here. There seemed to be a calliope round every corner.
Calliope. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the...
Yeah.
Sorry.
But around every corner.
I mean, there's already surreal imagery in this. That actually should have been the first red flag. That something weird was fucking up.
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy also hates, like, this is also through the perspective of somebody who hates the circus.
Yeah. So they could be like 500 feet apart, but just like, oh, there's another one. There's
like saying there's a Tim Hortons on every block of our town.
There is.
When really it's every other block.
Yeah.
There's not Tim Hortons every 40 feet. It's more like every 400 feet, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it would have been better if like they had a speaker system. It was like there was music blaring in like every corner. And just the circus music or carnival music.
Yeah, the calliope music just blaring through it.
I figured the calliope music was going to be going somewhere because of like how loud and persistent it was everywhere. Like it was going to be some part of like some indoctrination situation.
Yeah, fair. Honestly, I mean, and honestly, that could be it. Or honestly, I think it's just there as like set dressing. Because if this was being a TV show or something like that would be like every like old horror like show of like Are You Afraid of the Dark that has a circus, like where the characters are walking through a circus, they have that music playing in the background to kind of set the scene.
The horror, it's just the same guy in every corner.
Oh god, so you're just like, yeah, it's like some kind of weird glitch in reality.
Yeah.
Like some kind of like weird like phantom thing. Yeah. It's the same guys. Just smiling, like grinning ear to ear, just like doing the windmill guy from Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, where he's just like, you got the crank going to like get the Calliope music playing.
Oh yeah. I've learned to play that on the Shawsome quite well.
Nice. The Song of Storms.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got that. I got Saria's song. I have Song of Time.
Those are actually the songs that I learned to play on the keyboard specifically. Like I actually learned how to use the keyboard specifically so I could like play Ocarina of Time songs.
Nice.
But yeah, going back to this. Also, does anybody have anything to say about the classical music that was playing?
Sort of.
Because like
my one note on that is just the fact that he knows specifically the name of it.
I was going to argue that, but I was like, you know what? It's not said, but he could be a music like he could be really into music. He is 17 years old.
At 17 with
high school,
as much edge as he has.
You never know. Actually, it might. Yeah, honestly, it
might help.
It might be like because he's like so edgy and like kind of like hipstery kind of almost.
Unfortunately, he's too prim and proper because he knocks on doors instead of sneaking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not until shit gets real, they start trying to actually use like things to like lockpick. Mm-hmm. Or doesn't he just hit the lock or something and it breaks?
No, he's trying to pick it and it just breaks.
Yeah, right.
Like the chain breaks from him, like leaning on it, trying to fix it. Essentially, it just breaks.
Yeah. Although I did appreciate the actually like giving us the titles of these songs because you can actually just Wikipedia them up. That's how I found them. Like I looked them up.
Yeah, what I was gonna do, but I forgot to, was look that up and have it playing in the background while I'm reading.
That would have been really good. Yeah. Actually, that's a good. That's like.
Mm. That is the way to do it.
Yep. Sorry, go back. Continue on, Mikey.
Actually, before you continue,
no. I'm gonna let you finish.
but first, the other part I had on that note about the song title is at this point I didn't know how it was going to end or nothing, so I was thinking maybe he's writing this down, quote unquote, after the fact, and after the fact he's looked up what the name of the song is.
Yeah, that could be it too. Yeah,
but that's not it. Yeah,
again, I think it's plausible enough to just think that the character like knows these songs because like maybe they are into music.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. All right. So next actual thought.
Yes.
So at one point, Big Top says to Ryan, "Now, don't worry, I don't hurt children." And then later, Ryan is thinking, "I had no choice. I would die if I disobeyed him."
He said he wouldn't hurt children.
Yeah.
Okay, that's maybe like...
Yeah, but he was also planning to kill his brother.
Yeah, that's...
So he's a liar.
Yeah, so he's a liar, or maybe it should have been said, like, don't worry, I don't kill children. So, like, torture's still a thing. Torture's still a threat.
Yeah.
You're gonna die. Don't worry, I don't kill children. You're gonna wish you died.
Yeah, basically.
Just like that kind of thing.
Now, if it said to me, the clown had said to me, like, "Now don't worry, I don't hurt children," like, okay, walk away.
Yeah. Can I have can I see my brother too? It's like, oh yeah, sure, here you go. Thanks. Bye, children. Hello, children. Yeah, it's just like, hope you don't mind being orphans.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Actually, it would have been really cool if, like, to tie back to the Calliope music thing that you're like, I was wondering why it was good, if it was going to go somewhere. When he gets out into the main field, there's just a line of people almost in a daze, and the Calliope music is droning even harder. So it's almost like it is actually like basically keeping the parents contained, or basically keeping them like imprisoned or like enthralled, so that they can just like take them and like process them through the tent into the blood tent.
Yeah. There is some sort of magic shit going on.
Obviously, yeah. There's some kind
of... Because, like, when Ryan's out and Big's like, how'd you get out? Come here. He's like, okay. Yeah. And he says it, like, he doesn't know why. Like, I don't know why I just walked towards him, but I did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good, I mean, some people might call it a cop-out, but also it's a good excuse as to why, like, a character is just doing something for no reason. When you acknowledge it, it's in the story, it's like, okay, that actually comes off believable.
Yeah, like, if that didn't happen...
You'd be like, why?
Well, that, but also, the entire thing could be just mundane.
Yeah.
But because that one little thing happened, there's some sort of situation going on where it's not normal.
There's also hints throughout the story, like how this place just like appeared overnight. Like no one saw this thing, like the circus pop up. Or like
I missed that.
no one saw and the advertisements just appeared out of nowhere. Now those ones can be explained in that, like, again, just like a quick, like, basically the circus troupe just like are really efficient.
Yeah,
but
they already had all the flyers printed out to like nail on the
exactly, just to pop up everywhere, or just like go door to door, just like in the middle of the night, just like drop them off at people's like doorsteps.
Yep.
But and again like the clown like just vanishing at the end and like stuff like that. It can all kind of like fall into that extraordinary, not supernatural. But that part here, like the commanding like voice and stuff like that, you might be able to counter that, like, oh well, if somebody's intimidating enough, then like, yeah, you can basically like just like
that's true.
Make somebody forget that they have free will.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, there's a knife's edge here between extraordinary circumstances and supernatural circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Unintentional pun too, because there's knives in this.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
he uses knives.
Yeah.
Alright. And that's the end of my actual thoughts.
All right.
Until we get into final thoughts.
And then we're on to Gamer in Yellow.
Mm-hmm.
With his yellow highlighted dots.
That's the grammar in yellow.
No, that's the grammar thing.
Oh yes.
Stuff, but like this,
I don't have a special name for my notes.
That's why I was saying highlighted thoughts, because like, oh, this is a highlight. So like, oh, this is what you like highlighted, like to take note of.
That's what the grammar in yellow is. Stuff I've gone over with my highlighter.
Ah, shit.
I use a different shade of yellow for the other ones.
Yes. You use yellow green.
Yeah. But yeah, this one's just a little note. Just when I'm finding out that the kid's name is Marcus, in my head canon,
That's
I'm like,
what the brother's name was. I was trying the whole time.
Oh.
That's why. Full disclosure. That's why I used the brother or his younger brothers of that the whole time, because when I was doing the rundown, when I was writing up the jot notes for the rundown, I was like, what the fuck was the brother's name? Oh, it's not important.
it's not worth it.
Just look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I was just, okay, that's what it was. Marcus was the kid's
Yeah, it stuck in my head because I imagined him as a baby Marcus Phoenix,
Same.
like with the skull cap and everything.
Yeah.
You know. So that's their last name until their last name
Marcus
is actually said.
Yep. But it's actually pretty early on. Like, it's actually
Yeah.
at the point where like the parents come to the stage.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the mention of Marcus's name was way before that.
Oh yeah.
And then later on, after he's captured and everything, from behind the curtains, Melody, the singer, emerged with a ladder. Expression on her face was one of disgust. Essentially giving him the ladder so he can go paint.
Yeah.
And Big, well, say thank you then, is what Big snaps to him. And the other brother, what's his name?
Ryan.
He's just like, thank you. It's like, because he's stuttering because he's nervous.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird that Big snapped at him because he was literally just doing as he's told. Because earlier he's like, come with me and don't speak unless you're spoken to. He was not spoken to. So
Yeah, but he also wants to be again, he's kind of a deranged clown, so he's like, be polite.
yeah, I suppose.
Like, yeah.
He's still being a dick though.
Yeah.
Even more on top of killing everyone.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
paying
yeah.
blood.
Violence on TV is okay as long as you don't change your
As long as you don't say any naughty words.
Exactly. Oh, I was trying to switch it up to not be that, because that had no reason. I'll stop.
It was a South Park reference though. You love doing those.
I really don't.
You do them all the time though.
By accident.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then this next one, boy, get over here, please. Big Top demanded.
Boy.
Yep. I shot up. Then in my brain, I stopped for a second because I heard I shot up and killed Big Top with a gun that I stole from the counter of the prison. Unfortunately,
See, I went a different way. It's like I shot up.
Oh, just jumped.
Just leaps into the air.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went a completely different way because shot up is doing drugs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He's like, what? He's like putting heroin in his veins.
Totally. And then later on, Big shot his eyes up at me and hit me square in the face, knocking me off the ladder while I was panning from him. Boy, his eyes and then retract back into his head.
It's like fucking what was it, Von Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
like,
basically.
just dagger eyes.
There's a second Roger Rabbit reference.
Yeah.
And then when they're running away, as we were running, Melody pulled some matches from her pocket and a matchbox. She lit them and threw them at the fence by the entrance gate. Fire engulfed the wooden fence, and Big stormed through the gates. That's some highly flammable wood there.
Yeah.
I hope she soaked it in gas before that.
She
maybe
soaked it in kerosene.
Yeah, shit.
She's been
One
playing
match.
this- She's been playing this for a couple of weeks now.
Apparently.
No, I figured it out.
Did you? Did you
Yes.
really? Tell me
So,
about it.
but Big Top isn't killing people. He's killing robots. So the blood is actually oil.
Oh. We do... Wait, no.
It's like you're going to believe him for a half a second. Like, wait, actually, no, they're not. Red
I
oil.
was going to buy into this headcanon. I was like, no. No, you.
Been moving on.
Yes.
My last one. We went into the fields in front of us, the turbine fields. The fire was blazing now. It had reached the tent. That's when I noticed there were children. And you should have noticed that you haven't found your parents yet, and they might be burning alive right now.
Yep.
Like, it's assumed
I'm
that
actually
they're dead.
kind of
but-
surprised that he didn't see his parents among the ones that were hooked up in the tent. Like he didn't just see them because I'm surprised it didn't go that horrific.
Yeah, I figured that he was going to bring in one of his parents.
Yeah. But no, we never really kind of get that.
So,
They burned alive, as far as we know.
well, no, Big says
Hmm?
at the end.
Oh, he killed them?
He said he fed them to the tigers
Oh,
hours ago,
gotcha.
like before he
right.
even woke up.
You're right. Yep.
Yeah, so that's why their bodies
And
were
then
seen.
butchered the tigers, or that
He
one.
butchered
tiger.
one tiger.
Yeah, there might be others. I mean, yeah, we don't know what happened to the elephants or the ringmaster or some of the other lackeys.
Oh yeah.
There's just like two people that are, after that, after he blacks out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, maybe the ringmaster was Biggs, just not as a clown, but
Maybe.
it's kind of weird. Yeah, that there's only there were assumedly other employees and other performers going on.
They all went home.
Yeah.
I
It's been a
guess,
couple hours.
yeah, I guess that actually could be it. Yeah,
This is after closing time.
yeah,
Right,
and
so-
they're completely oblivious as to what's going on, except for Melody, who's blackmailed the whole time for this. Because I guess he needed at least one assistant.
Yep. And that's all I got for actual notes.
Okay, well, on to final thoughts then. So, as far as this is on its own, there's a fair amount of gore, though nothing overly described. Like, organs and viscera aren't just flying around willy-nilly and, super graphic, descriptions. It's just really a lot of blood and some death. It's pretty tame in terms of its, showing of gore and such. There's just a lot of blood.
There's a dead big kitty cat, though.
Yeah, I mean, but we don't get, full description, gore porn stuff. It's a dead decay.
It's saying it's, lacerated with, flies all over it and shit.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's so
In terms of-
desensitized.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine for a gore hound. Again, the blood, all the blood and some of that's in this is actually really is narratively plotted because it's a narrative device as it is both what the clown craves but also his weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually I really enjoyed that zinger at the end there.
Yeah.
There's moments of this story that feel a little too dream logic-y, or at least paraphrased to keep the action nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
I think some edits could be done to pace it better. Just again, some of those jot note sentences we mentioned, and there's some again I'm not sure if this is the case, as obviously because I don't know the author, but I feel like this, from my own experience, I feel like this was derived from a dream that the person had, and then they just used that and maybe edit a little bit, but you need to edit a little bit more just to kind of get rid of some of that dream logic-y eccentricities. Unless you want to go full David Lynch and just don't explain your dream logic. Which, you know what? All the power to you. Because if you have that kind of vision, go for that. I did enjoy the arc Melody had, as I mentioned before, and the twist that Ryan possibly became a killer, or became the new killer clown at the end. At least that's the kind of thing I took from it.
Yeah.
is actually really like I liked this origin story. If this is in fact like the origin of a new killer, like I kind of like that. I'm looking forward to reading the next one to see how poorly I've misinterpreted the origin or this prequel story into the next one. While a little predictable, it wasn't bad, and certainly not the worst origin story of a killer that I've seen.
Does it involve bleach?
Yeah. Or just the kittens.
What?
There's a meme online that Jeff the Killer is, when people refer to JTK or Jeff the Killer, they call it just the kittens.
Nice.
So, and the story itself, like the plot and like what's going on in the story, it's almost fantastical or surreal in what happens. And I think if you want to make a memorable monster of this kind, that's the way to go. Like that's the way you do it. You don't like because if you make it too ordinary, it can get really dark really quick. Whereas if you add like a flair of like surreal or like a flair of like the fantastical to it, it gives the audience a little bit more spectacle than just a gritty, dark killer like thing. And that's not always why I'm here for when it comes to like creepypastas that deal with killers. Like I said, so basically it felt like a Lynchian slasher flick, and with a little like trappings of like Hostel and Saw mixed in because of like again like the not quite gore porn, but like lots of blood. So bottom line, it needs some work, as with many works. But if you like semi-surreal horror with clowns and gore, you may like this. So I recommend, and I'm curious as to what happens in the next story. So, and that is my final thoughts. Mikey, these stands for you. What are your final recommendations and thoughts?
All right. Well, mine is a partial recommendation. It was an interesting story, but...
Sorry, did you say it wasn't?
Was or was not?
Yeah, it almost sounds like you said... apparently we're having a little bit of a voice talk. Voice talk thing. 2 words. Well,
We English good.
God.
Real good.
Yeah.
But the part that I didn't really care for because it seems like it sort of escalated too far was Ryan becoming evil at the end. The police report.
I kind of saw it,
Like,
but yeah,
I
You went
didn't.
nuts.
Well, but I didn't see that really happening and him becoming Big Top or whatever.
Like the reasoning
Right.
behind it, because why would he be something that he's scared of?
yeah,
Yeah.
there was some kind of like, I mean, there is like that instance right at the end, like before the police report, where he apparently just passes out at the same time as Big Top dies. I thought that was kind of like came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But it was the hint as to like that there's some kind of connection. But yeah, there's no real other connection between them. Like there's no like hinting at like Big Top like saying anything like while he's like working and like painting with the blood. Like I feel like there should I kind of agree with you a little bit. Like I feel like there should have been some kind of hint mid story that like show that like he was starting to get a little like unhinged by the whole matter. But yeah,
Or like something through the story where it
shows
it can be looked back in hindsight and be like, oh, that's when he started the possession.
yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
he dipped his finger in blood and like touched it to his forehead or something like that to like
you're red.
yeah.
Yeah.
If he did something.
Yeah. But the way it is, it just seems almost like it's shoehorned in for it being a prequel.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I actually think it would be really cool if, like, this would also be really disturbing if Red like takes some blood and just smears a smile onto Ryan's face. Like that might be the like all you need to like show that there's some kind of connection or something like that, because he's suddenly like now he's got a red face, like red smiley face, like a clown. So like he's marked. Basically. Yeah, I think that would actually be a nice touch in that midsection. That might all be all you need.
Yeah. Yeah, because for me, there was a complete disconnect.
As to like why he's a killer outside of like, oh, this is a really crazy thing that happened, and I'm just going to say that like this event traumatized him enough to make him the next killer, the next villain or killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from with that.
I don't think it's just straight the trauma. It had to have been
There's
possessed.
there's some kind of possession or something.
Yeah.
At least that's where I went like at the end because they never found the clown. Like the clown vanished. So obviously it was either some kind of spirit that is now possessing Ryan, or it like disintegrated or dissolved when its power was transferred over to Ryan.
Yeah, like maybe he's been inhabiting a body for like hundreds of years.
So
then it just dusted immediately. Yeah. And the reason that Ryan's like spouting big top stuff, gibberish, but then he breaks out is like his body fighting it temporarily, but then he loses the fight and gets taken over.
Yeah.
Which is possible.
That's fair. So partial recommendation then?
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, I'd recommend it. I like the origin story. It's riddled with little grammar issues all through it, as we saw. A lot of tiny sentences that could be put together into bigger ones, and little typos, but nothing too major, you know? It wasn't enough of there weren't enough speed bumps to really slow down my enjoyment of it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff I was bringing up, like, as I sit here in the nitpick nook alone, was a lot of nitpicks. Like, it's not really, like, big stuff that, like, broke the game, or broke the story.
Yeah.
Would you say that you quite liked it?
You quiet like it.
I would have to quiet like it, actually.
Yeah, nice comeback there, Mikey.
Nice
callback, sorry. Just all manner of audio acquisitions here.
It's fine. Yeah, I liked it. I'm curious to see how it's going to go, because we came up with multiple ways it could potentially go in the sequel.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a prequel too. Yeah. So I guess we'll find that out in a couple of weeks, because I'll probably like schedule it in. We got a few things kind of hammered down for like certain things that are happening, like spring's coming up soon. So I think the next one's probably going to be a spring related story, and then I think maybe after that or the next one we'll do the sequel.
Can they really be that scary?
What?
Springs? They just like compress and they go back out.
Well, that has been a good episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave the comment section below. We're there. If you like what you heard, if you didn't, leave a comment in the comment section below. It's posted whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. We can also send us suggestions for creepypastas that you'd like us to discuss on the show, or SCPs, or Reddit no-sleeps or stay-awakes. Any kind of stories that are creepy, horror-related, and are on the internet. You can also get in touch with us on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is, I'm not going to say Gamer in Yellow. I'm too pissed off at you right now. No, the Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W, because his name is too goddamn long. And I'm at Review Cultist. If you'd like to help support the show, you can go to Patreon, look up Al Dente Rigamortis, and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $5, $2 tier, where you can check out extra content, early access, and special episodes. To our patrons that are helping support the show, as always, thank you guys immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. To the listeners of the show, and to the authors of these stories, thank you guys immensely, because without your listenership, we wouldn't have much of a show, and without your stories and authorships, we really wouldn't have much of a show, because we wouldn't have anything to talk about. And I'd be sad. And if you'd like to go to Redbubble and check out some merchandise of our logo, you can get it on a clock, a shower curtain, or a t-shirt, I guess, if you want to be normal about it. As well as stickers and all those fun little merchandise things. Also, we have a new podcast, a actual play podcast, where we run games and campaigns of Shadowrun and other games that we've been running for the last 7 to 10 years. That I pull from the dusty old hard drive. It's called One Less Die, and it is a Shadowrun and gaming actual play podcast. So you can go check it out there on Podbean, or any podcasting streaming service, I believe. Anyway, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm out of here.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis in a yellowless world. Sleep well. And we're recording. So this is episode 303, maybe? I don't know. I'll have to double check because it's been. We have
since
so.
you looked at me. Which is also true.
Why are we here?
Why is anyone here?
It's one of life's great memories. Damn it!
You're fucking nailing it today.
Oh, yeah.